Hello, my name is John Peace with the Rural Route Podcast and also write in the Rural Route newsletter. I'm here today with my co-host today, Heather Riggs Moses. Heather, you want to say hi to everybody and talk about your position with the Democrat Party?
Well, I just took over as interim chair this summer. I am actually in the process of finishing my degree in political science. I've got about a year left to go on that. Our political climate is what encouraged me to go back and do that. It's always been a dream of mine, and I've always loved politics and history. And so I wanted to do my part. And I had been having a lot of trouble kind of trying to find my people in my area. And I happened to bump into John one day, and he was like, you need to come over here to our committee meetings. And I was like, I didn't even know there was a committee around here. So now I found my people, and I feel right at home.
First of all, we're glad to have you, and we're glad to have you as chairperson and looking forward to having you chairperson next year. Now I get to introduce our special guest today, Darryl Campbell. Met Darryl. We did a candidate training. Darryl, when was that? April? Maybe? It was
That might have
early.
been the beginning of June, actually.
Yeah, it was real early in the season. Got to meet Darryl and stuff. Had the very fortunate, had the great pleasure of writing a candidate story for him. He was the first, and we actually titled it "First Generation American," and he has a great story. Darryl, glad to have you on here. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, Sean. Nice to meet you too, Heather. Thank you so much for letting me be here with you guys. Yeah, my name's Darryl. I like to go by Darryl. I never want to be called Councilman Campbell or anything like that.
Too late for that, buddy. Now,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I'm just a down to earth kind of guy that moved down here for school from Jersey back in 2008. And I've loved Blacksburg ever since. I decided it was time for me to actually do something and give back to the community a bit more than I have. And I feel like the town needs a little more direction, especially with everything going on nationally.
Amen.
Well, Darryl, one quick question. Now, I'm gonna put the link to your story with this video, but I want you to first talk about what was the trigger that you know what I'm talking about. What got you to put your name on a dotted line and run for office?
Yeah, so it's funny. It's kind of a clandestine story. I was watching a video one time, or watching a video of Jasmine Crockett's interview. She's one of my favorite politicians. She was always standing up for the right thing, always standing up for the people. And that's how she's always been in her career. And in the interview, she was explaining that about her first time coming to Texas. And the representative at the time was going to step down. And she reached out to Jasmine specifically and said, "Hey, you help out this town so much. I need you to be our representative." Ever since then, Jasmine's been running, but I heard that. I put a pause on the video, started walking around my apartment, just speaking out into the universe, trying to figure out what I could do more to actually help people. And by the time I sat down and started eating again, about 5 minutes later, I got a text. It was a group asking if I wanted information about running for a local seat. And I mean, the universe called my bluff. I had to call its bluff, and it's been rolling ever since.
Well,
Congratulations.
Darryl, oh yeah, congratulations. You're right. Quick note. Give us just a little snippet of Blacksburg, the size, demographics, because this, of course, with video, everybody, not everybody's going to know Blacksburg. So if you can tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Blacksburg is the home of the Hokies, home of Virginia Tech. So the big university down here in Southwest Virginia. We have about 45,000 people in our town, of which I believe about 25,000 are students who can vote. I really do think that they don't get enough of a voice in this area, and I want to get young people more involved. They're already concerned about what's going on all around them. Uh, Now, I have experience going from leaving high school in 2008 to coming to college later that summer. We all remember the recession. It was terrifying for everyone. Trying to find my way as a young adult in that kind of world, it was difficult, but I did it. I can only imagine what kids nowadays are going through. The government wasn't down around us back in 2008. This must be one of the most terrifying things that they've ever experienced in their life, and that's coming off of the pandemic. So, I mean, we got to get them involved. We got to start building the world for the needs of the future.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't do that without having them give us some say of what they want to. So, I mean, we got to prepare it. They'll still consider us as far as being older and taking care of us, as long as we consider them and giving them a world that they can work with.
I'm gonna have to laugh when you call yourself older because you and Heather and Heather's been instrumental on recruiting a lot of young people to our local committee in Wise County. I'll let Heather talk a little bit, and I think her social media has been a big part of that. Heather, I'd let you chime in on
Well,
that.
it may not have been, the best thing I could do for my real estate career, but, I just felt like that, the truth has to be told, and like you said, we have the kids that are coming up to think about. I have 2 children. I have a 26-year-old and a 15-year-old, both girls, and the thought of them never being able to afford their own home or having to go into serious debt to go to college, what kind of mess are we handing them? Climate change, the list goes on and on. And I also worried too that the type of behavior that we have witnessed in the last 10 years in the federal government is becoming normalized. So there's a certain demographic of children that have grown up from 10 to 20 believing that this is okay. When I grew up, Republican, Democrat, whoever won the president was about all of the people. When a crisis happened, it was about unity. Republican or Democrat, they respected the Constitution and they knew they were a figurehead for the people. And so that all of that kind of adds to why I just felt this calling and this need that something has to change.
Well, we appreciate having you, Heather, really do. Darryl, when
Well,
I
I'm
first
glad to
met you,
be here.
we're glad to have you. Darryl, when I first met you, it was at a candidate training we were doing in Blacksburg. And one of the things we were talking about was we as Democrats, you as a candidate, your number one priority is you got to sell yourself first. People still vote for people. And sometimes we as Democrats get caught up too much in issues and we don't do that with the voters. But I want you to go and tell us a little bit about your campaign, what you experienced, how you sold yourself, one, and then also what there were issues. And Blacksburg has some unique issues. I follow them because I'm alumni at Virginia Tech. But believe it or not, the housing situation
Housing,
even here
that's
in
what I
Wise
was
County in Southwest Virginia, affordability, we're having a problem. The same
uh
as Blacksburg. But I'll let you turn it over to you, Darryl. Talk about your campaign.
Well, yeah. So, as he's mentioned, housing was a big part of it, not only for students with the rental prices just constantly increasing. We're looking at young professionals that can't move into the town or buy a home. I'm one of them. I would love to have a starter home in Blacksburg, but the prices the way they are, that's almost impossible. So a lot of young professionals and even people who have already lived here for years and years, but they just want to downsize. A lot of people have to go out of town. I mean, we moved to Blacksburg because we love it.
right.
And although I do want all the towns around us and everything to be prosperous, but if Blacksburg isn't able to stay as one of the central points and really kind of help with the economy, what's going to happen to everything else around it? I mean, that's why I'm also worried about our football. It's a little bit, it's a it's still, we're so used to having so many people come in for game days, and that kind of helps to prop up the town. But we got to find new ways to really help out others in the community and make sure that we're taking care of each other where the system is just falling out from under us.
Uh-huh.
Well, Darryl, I'm gonna show you how old I am. My first year in Blacksburg at Virginia Tech was Frank Beamer's first year. And let me tell you, the first 3 years, if you wanted to go to a game, you could wait till almost kickoff, walk out of the dorms. I lived in Lee, go across the street and just get a student ticket and walk in. I mean, so so that
But now,
yeah, oh, I know. But anyway, that's the way it was. I don't know whether you had time. I sent you a link. This was an article by a Hokie alumni that I know through the Lunchbox Venture Capitalist Group. And she was talking about alumni that buy that second home in their college towns. Well, I mean, trust me, that's great for economic development. That's great to get those alumni coming back for game day, spending that money. But it also makes a problem for the locals. And I'm sure I'll let you talk a little bit about that. And that's a tough problem
Mhm.
because you want both. You don't want to kill the goose that laid the golden egg, but yet that goose is taking up all the houses.
Yeah, that's the thing. I do love that they have such a dedication to coming back and visiting the town and really supporting the town year and year and year after year. But it does make it more difficult on the housing side of things because they're holding up a house that could be a great place for somebody to live. And I understand that they want to hold on to it because they want to be able to use it for the games and everything like that. But that leaves a vacant home that's not used but 8 times a year. I mean, we have so much more that people could be utilizing that space. Um, I don't it's a difficult problem to deal with, and I know that there's some models out there that we might be able to adapt. I think this is gonna be one that a lot of Southwest Virginia is gonna have to come together on, though. Like, we're gonna have to push our legislators to actually make a big difference for us, and the only way we can do that is by building a coalition that will go up and lobby them.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and Heather's in the real estate business. Heather, you can chime in. You probably even in Wise County in the Big Stone market, we have
Especially
retirees coming back there buying houses,
uh-huh.
and yeah,
You have, there is very, very, very little available rentals. There's a lot of out-of-state buyers that come in, and that's another issue that we deal with, is they come in and they see a property that maybe I would say was worth $250,000. They'll pay $350,000 because that's a steal for them for where they come from. But then that also offsets the market for locals who maybe could have afforded 250,000, but there's no way they could have afforded 350,000. So, most of the people that I do get hits from, calls from, are people that are wanting to move into the area. Now you'll still find people that are wanting to move within the county, but a lot of times it's people that are coming from different states all across the country trying to come to a small town. I've seen that ever since I started in the real estate business, which was right after the pandemic, and it's never stopped. And even when other areas were starting to struggle in their housing markets, Northeast Tennessee and Southwest Virginia really did not, because we weren't considered a metropolis and people were still leaving urban big cities to move to rural areas. So we managed to kind of bypass that issue, but there needs to be more housing and more affordable housing. And so many of the rental properties that do exist, I don't know how they pass health code. They're falling down, they're falling apart. The list of problems goes on and on.
yeah. Well, that's a good point, Heather. Hey, Darryl, I want to go back to the beginning of your campaign.
Mhm.
Talk a little bit to us about how you promoted yourself. If you don't mind me asking, what did you spend on your campaign? What was your campaign finances like?
In total, as far as things that I was keeping track of before looking at the big in-kind donations, I think it was about 6,000, maybe 6,500. And one of my constituents, he was very supportive of me, and he did his own mailing effort where he printed out his own letters, signed them himself, sent them out to a whole bunch of people. So that was another about $7,000. So I'm in the 13 to 14,000
And
range
now
on.
you do know for a small city of almost 50,000 people, that is small. I mean, you've seen what's being spent on campaigns. Well, okay, on a limited budget, how did you get out? What did you do? How did you get out and meet people and sell yourself? Let's start with that, and then we'll talk about some other issues.
Yeah, so I started out pretty early because I was helping out Lily Franklin's campaign the whole time.
She was a
So
winner too. Props.
yes,
Yeah.
and when I was going out and knocking doors for her, she let me also throw myself in there. So that was actually a pretty good way to find people who are definitely supportive, at least of the cause,
Yes.
and would likely also be supportive of me too. Other things that I did was I run a trivia and a music bingo night at one of the local bars. Connecting with the students was not only my job, but a weekly thing that I did. So it was a great way for me to get the word out in that way too. Students are very vocal when they actually are passionate about something, and they will talk to their friends about it. I mean, it's funny that we think because they're young that they're not thinking about things fully, but they're really, like, they were grilling me with some of the questions. It was tough, but I really enjoyed them. I mean, it's nice seeing their brains spark up and really care about something, you know?
That's a thing that I think that we here in Wise County definitely need to take advantage of more, is the fact that UVA Wise is right here.
Mhm.
We need to establish a bigger presence up there. I don't even know that we have much of a presence there at all right now.
Small, yeah, yeah,
I just
small.
recently met the leader of their Young Democrats up there at the last No King's Day protest in Abingdon. And so I'm hoping that he will reach out to me. If not, I'm going to reach out to him and, try to bring some of those voices in because, like you said, you can't write off college age kids
Mhm.
and just think, "Oh, well, they're partying or having a good time," because they have a lot of important issues that they're thinking about, and they have a lot to add to the conversation.
And it can also be a great way to teach them how to look at things. Because I remember being at that age and having very black or white thinking. There was barely any gray. The way I saw it was the way the world works, you know?
Mhm.
We can start to teach them. If they get involved early enough, we can teach them from an early age that there's a lot of gray. And sometimes you're going to have to work with people that may not be fully aligned, but they can at least help get the job done. And they're not going to turn around and screw you over.
Them are great comments. Tell me a little bit. Did you do a lot of outreach to local businesses, or how did you approach, say, the next older group, the business owners, and let's say the middle age voters? I'm gonna do it this way, and then we'll talk about seniors here in a little bit.
Yeah, so I had a little bit of help with that from Pete. He was running for mayor, and he and his team.
What's Pete's last name? I forgot.
It's though.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, me and Pete had
Bagels. Yeah, what's his
got
name?
bagels,
Bogles Bagels. Yeah,
Blacksburg bagels. Yeah,
Blacksburg Bagels. Okay,
and we teamed up for our campaigns because the way we think about problems, although we come from it from two different perspectives, we always found we were able to talk it out and figure out this might be the best way forward. So as far as someone I could work with, Pete's absolutely amazing.
yeah,
And he's a great guy.
yeah.
Luckily, the team that he built was helping me out with knocking doors on days that I couldn't.
Okay,
So they were able to talk to some of those more middle age group. And I also, because I've been in Blacksburg so long, a lot of them kind of have seen me grow. Although it has been at Hooky House or just walking around town or anything like that, they recognized me a little bit. And when I would go up to one of their events to talk, especially I can't remember the name of the business group. Blacksburg has like 3 or 4 of them, but one of the ones I met, a few people already recognized me, and afterward they were like, "Hey, I've seen you around town, but I didn't even know it was you." It's funny how a small community that will recognize people
yeah.
without even noticing it. You just become familiar with the same people that you see whenever you go to the bagel shop or whenever you're going to pick up Chipotle at the same time every Thursday. And it's like we all have our patterns and we start to recognize the people during those. So easy
Did
outreach.
you speak in front of any of the Chamber of Commerce or Business Association? Were you able to do any of that? Okay,
It was one of the business associations. And then also going out to the popsicles in the park. So that was the events that Pete and I were doing together. We had quite a few people come in because they wanted to find out what we were about.
great. As you know, I don't know if you caught that part of our candidate training. I'm a big proponent of you got to talk to groups. And in
Mhm.
fact, I come from a background of sales, 35 years of professional sales. Believe it or not, it's easier to sell a group sometimes than it is individuals.
Mhm.
And because all it takes is that one person at the table going, yeah, I like him. And then the people maybe on the fence, they just come on over. Well, I like them too. Uh, so it's easier to sell as a group. Okay, we've talked about business, kind of middle age. What about the senior group? And of course, they vote, and they're the ones that vote every time.
Yeah.
How did you promote yourself to them?
So that one was easier than I thought it would be because
Really?
a lot
Okay.
of them came out to the forum. So Blacksburg had the town council forum, and when I went in for that meeting, the entire room was packed.
Wow.
Most of them were elderly faces. There are also people who talk a lot. So it's funny that the younger group and the oldest group, they tend to talk to their friends the most, whereas that middle group, they're like, well, I gotta do this and then get my kids to here and there and well sometimes. But the elderly group, especially with that one donor support, he was very vocal about me. He was in his mid 80s, I believe.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so he was giving calls to people and sending out letters for me. Um,
That's
of
awesome.
course, I went out knocking on doors and everything, but the elderly crowd enjoys that face-to-face interaction,
Mhm.
and they
You got to
knowing
have it.
care about.
You gotta have, and let me tell you, in sales, we talk about there's nothing better than a referral. Heather will tell you that. There's nothing. I mean, all the advertising, campaign marketing, there's nothing better than that person just refers you. Go, this, and all that. I'll, I'm gonna kind of wrap up the demographics and the different groups with this. How active were you on social media? What if you could divide up what you did on social media versus traditional campaign marketing? Tell us a little bit about your campaign that way.
I would say it was probably about half and half.
Okay.
Not as far as cost, but as far as effort put into it. I think that, and that was because part of my target demographic was the students.
Okay.
I realized that there would be a big piece in me being able to win if they knew who they were going to vote for. So we made sure to get Instagram posts out there, Facebook posts, and really the kids are on Instagram, so they were seeing my face pop up all the time.
Much on TikTok? Much on TikTok or any of the others? Reddit? Any?
They I think we were on Reddit for a little bit, but
Okay.
I didn't delve into TikTok because I'm just a scroller in my life. I don't maybe the next campaign I'll focus a little bit more on that, but the person that was helping me in basically managing my social media, her name is Mia Bella, and she was absolutely amazing. She's a grad student in poli sci here at Tech now. And I don't think that I would have been able to do it without her because again, I like to go scrolling through pages. I don't necessarily like posting anything all that much. But that was a big piece of me getting the word out there and getting the support. And that helped me to keep going when I would see people like the post and give me great comments and truly supporting me from the towns.
Well, as you know, this is why we're doing what we're doing today, is to get more media, get more of our stories online in different medias. Heather has got a lot more experience than I do. Now, I do have a lot of experience on doing a lot of book club stuff and doing these kind of things on selling books, but not necessarily on political and stuff. And Heather, we've talked about we got to get on Instagram, we got to get on more platforms, YouTube, and we got to here
You
locally.
have to meet people where they are,
Uh,
and the youth
Tim,
are on social media.
Mhm.
You meet the elderly in the town, at your forums, at the grocery store, at where have you, but you have to meet the other groups where they are. So,
Mhm.
with the middle-aged people, it might be at your kids' ball games. With the youth, it's social media.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, Darryl, I'm gonna wrap this up and try to keep you under 30 minutes because that's what I promised you. Last question. Okay, besides, we're gonna go back to issues here. We talked about housing affordability. Any other real big issues in your campaign? We realize Blacksburg's a little different than the normal Southwest Virginia, but any other issues that helped you in your campaign?
Yeah, I think that my focus on trying to figure out a way to kind of revitalize the small businesses in Blacksburg. I know that that's not something that town council can really write a policy for to make it happen. But I kind of view public servant and basically community leader as being the same thing. I think it should be as a connecting piece. You do as much as you can with your position, and then you also act as a connecting piece. So if somebody has a project that they want to do or that they might need help with, you help them strategize, you give them the ability to feel empowered and go forward with that project. Because I know that I can't say, "Hey, let's make sure that we add this to the park," or add this to their backyard. But I could at least make it as easy as possible.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. People want that kind of support and to know that even if they hit a bump in the road, they can at least talk to someone
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. There's
And somebody that
somebody that
cares.
they know that they can give a call to, and, oftentimes, they may already know that there is not anything black and white or something that you can do immediately, a switch you can flip, but 9 times out of 10, them just being able to tell you what's going on and you
Mhm.
listening to them means the world.
And there, here's my last question today. Any surprises during the campaign? Anything that just, whether it be issues, whether it be just in the campaign in general. This was your first one. So put you on the spot here.
Think it honestly was right in the beginning when I fully announced that I would be running. I knew I would have support. I didn't realize how many people would be so supportive and how many people's lives I had affected over the years. Because this being a college town and me having run trivia and music bingo for a total of 10-ish years, I've been a big part of a lot of people's memories, and I never realized that.
Good.
But yeah, but when I first made that post and I was like, okay, I'm gonna be running for town council. I had people liking the post, people were commenting saying that they wish they lived in Blacksburg still. I had one person talk about the memory that he had during the events. So I mean, I think that was probably the most surprising thing for me because I thought that I was doing it off the whim of the universe. And then all of a sudden there's a whole wave of people that really want to support me. I loved it.
You know why all this tickles me? It goes right back to what we kind of preach, that people vote for people.
Mhm.
I mean, they still do. And people they know, people they like.
Yeah.
I mean, issues are important. Don't get me wrong. Issues are important and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's about people. When I first met you, I knew you were a quality person, quality candidate. Yeah, so we're so tickled, and I'm gonna wrap this up so I can keep you under 30 minutes. And I hope you'll come back sometime, talk about updates. We got some new town council members in Big Stone Gap. Maybe we can do something with them and y'all can kind of talk. I'd love to get y'all together. They're wonderful young, they're kind of like you, the next generation
Yeah,
coming up and stuff. And Heather's next generation coming up in the party, and just get y'all talking a little bit more together and getting on social media so people get to know you. And
yeah,
maybe even for bigger things. That's what we got. Us old people got hope for. So
Yeah.
you just keep on going on up, okay?
absolutely. If you ever have an event down there and you want me to come down, send me the invite and let me know. I'd actually love to come down and hang out with you guys for a day. So
Same
I think
same to
Heather,
you.
any last questions? Anything right quick before we
Well, I
sign off?
just wanted to say, same to you. If you have an event going on or you need our support, don't hesitate to give us a call. That's what we're here for.
absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Well, Darryl, thank you so much for coming on, and we'll talk soon, okay? God bless.
So,
Have a
Bye-bye.
good
thanks for having
talk.